Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to round number 2 of our TCR Championship Season 2 at Laguna Seca. Oh, it's good to stretch the arms, especially after round 1. But joining me in the box and really stretching his arms out after a bit of a difficult day, Yanaman Price. Yanaman, how are you doing?
Good evening, Stephen. Doing well, and you? Yes, tonight it's Laguna Seca, and like you said, after last week, this track's going to feel as wide as a parking lot for the drivers.
Yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting one, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the guys are going to be able to do, especially here at Laguna Seca. Wonderful circuit. Guys are going to really have a huge amount of fun as they make their way through. But Laguna Seca being a very difficult circuit is going to make things a bit interesting. So, while we've got qualifying on the way and the guys getting ready to rock and roll, let's see if we can bring up my timing board, which seems to be out at the moment. There it is. Ah, there we go. Had to catch up a little bit. I do want to talk about Laguna Seca corkscrew being a very difficult one to deal with. The guys are going to have to try and figure out what's going to work for them. Open qualifying, which means all the cars are out at the same time to try and get those flying laps in. And 15 minutes is going to be on the cards for these guys, especially with the open setups. Low fuel runs are going to be the main thing for this evening.
Yeah, Stephen, and don't forget that the race is not exactly that long. 20-minute race, 2 heats. They are treated as 2 entirely different races, so there's 2 qualifying sessions, one for each race. These TCR cars, Stephen, they don't exactly use a lot of fuel, so I think even for the race there won't be that much fuel in them, but for qualifying, I think there's barely 10 liters in these cars just to help them around and get the times on the board as low as possible.
Now, while we've got guys still going around, I do want to highlight this car out here, and this is part of the backmarkers team. This is Louis Nikia, and Louis hoping to really have a bit of fun. The inspiration for the backmarkers team is to go for more of a retro style, going back to the group ends. How's that? So his whole thing is to go for the group ends, going with the old Sabat, the Winfield, that's all out on the circuit. But since he's going about old retro, I did a bit of digging while we were on a little bit of an off time, and I want to talk about a car that he used to race in Castrol Clubman's. Now, that might be in one that's running through a lot of people's head going, Castrol Clubman's, where have I heard that before? Well, Mr. Nokia here raced this car, the Farino, which is a Dino front end, Lamborghini sort of back end on a Beetle suspension, Beetle pan, basically a Beetle with a fiberglass shell. And he raced this in the Castrol Clubman's, which he raced it with the V8 version. There was a V6 version, a V8, and then some guys even opted for a Mazda V8, a Mazda Rotary.
That's essentially a Beetle with a V8 in.
Yes, with Beetle brakes, might I add.
How do you keep that front end on the ground?
Well, I think there's going to be a few people that are going to hear that sort of stuff and go, geez, there's some old names that's coming there and some old familiar stuff. But Hilton Nixon, he's out of new name to the world of sim racing. He's trying to make up a bit of ground with his driving. Also been having great chats to him. The young man hoping to really improve his drive. I do want to talk about currently fastest time on the board, a 1:30.8 set by RDSA and Pantera Racing driver Luke Lucchese, going and really stomping around. Now, in practice, we saw the guys within the top 5 all doing about 138 to 130, 130 to 0.2. So the guys are hoping to get that extra bit of run out. Jason Coetzee hoping to also make a move up, and well, with a very interesting livery, might I add. Someone's been sitting with trading paints.
Yeah, somebody's been sitting with trading paints, and things got a bit slippery there for you.
Yeah, just
no pun intended.
Might be a bit of a rough ride once in a while. Third place, Tristan. Third place, Tristan Norbriger. Yeah, go ahead.
Didn't I see the Rosas also on the track?
Well, you may be taking a look at this car, which is the Burger King car, driven by Suez Jabir.
No.
He's hoping to get a bit of a run. Werner Swart, a little bit further back of the back markers, trying to get a little bit more of a run for him. Then we got Johan Ferry, our defending champion. He's out in fourth place. In sixth place. And then we got Paul Herber, followed by Chase Herald in the Liqui Moly colours. Interesting. Andrew Thomas of the RDSA. Robbie Teens, he's in the old school Honda livery. And then we got Gabriel Dos Santos. We got Aiden Russell with, well, you gotta love that. I'm Max Verstappen. Oh man, the guys are coming out with liveries of note. Rilof Tillerman, he's also out there in the BWT, chasing his way around. We have got Etienne Swart, Louis Nokia in the Winfield, Herman Lazarus in his good old blue and black for the cheapercars.co.za. Peter Jabir in the Pennzoil cars. We've also got Yaz Samai, which is a name we all know, but don't get to see too often. He's pretty much like a unicorn on the circuit, but it's good to see him back. Yaz out on the track. He's currently in 25th. 26th, we've got, there we go. This might be Hilton Nixon. This is Hilton Nixon. You're talking about Rosa sort of livery. Is this the livery you were looking at?
That was the livery I was looking at, yeah.
So, also on the back of his bumper, he's got an interesting saying. So let's see if we can actually put a bit of a chase cam on that and get an idea of what's written on the back of his bumper. If you can see this, you're too close. Pretty much sums it up as he bails off the corkscrew, and here comes one of our other cars trying to make their way through. That's the Pennzoil car, and they're going about wide. Onocross, Byron Mitchell back out on track. We have also got Richard Herring. He's got Nico Killerman just ahead of him, and I do know that Rob Herring was also looking at getting involved as well. Richard Herring's dad is looking to get a bit of fun. So it's good to see the guys all out on the track, but the man to beat at the moment, Jason Couture with a 130.5. Julian Familiaris, a 130.6. Luke Lucchesi with a 130.817. Yuri Umpi Swart, after a fantastic run, he is out in fourth place with a 130.8. Tristan de Norbrega is doing a 130.9 as his best lap time. And a good evening to everyone out in the grandstands. I see Project Vapor coming in and giving a big shout out as well. But gentlemen, your thoughts so far on all the different little cars that are around?
Well, Stephen, it's always nice to look at the liveries that the guys produce on iRacing and some of the funny stuff that they come up with. But out in front, the top of the field, I think this is going to be a very close race. Those times are not far apart. And, on a track like Laguna Seca, I think we are looking forward to some awesome close racing tonight. And I think the guys, this is a welcome change after the tight track that they've been racing on for the past 2 weeks of Oran Park. So let's go racing.
Well, and considering we have got 33 entries for Heat 1 in a 20-minute race, I think we're in for a fantastic run. Especially with the guys looking to go and really climb the ladder. This is a way to stretch out the points, especially after you had a rough run at Oran Park. Some guys don't quite like it, others seem to do better, but it's good to see a couple of drivers jumping back behind the wheel, ready to have a bit of fun. And I've got to say, the field has been growing. A lot of guys have been quite enjoying the racing. Guys are getting more and more involved. New names starting to pitch up as well. Like, as we said, Yaz Samai jumping back in behind the wheel. I mean, you've had many, many times where you and Yaz have had a run. And if I remember correctly, you actually bought your pedals from Yaz.
That's correct, yes. Pedals that I'm currently racing, I bought from him. So thanks for telling everybody that I'm racing second-hand pedals.
I can do one better than that.
Go for it.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone that doesn't know, and I think it should be known, it was Janneman's birthday yesterday. So, while we've got a bit of time, happy birthday, Janneman, on behalf of the entire Raceface community and everyone watching on YouTube. And I want to see everyone in the comments posting happy post-birthday, Janneman. I'm not going to ask you how old you are because I think that's a little bit on the nose, and I've got a race with you soon. So
Well, Stephen, you know how grey I am, so yeah. But thank you very much, and for doing that, I'm going to make you sing live on air.
happy birthday to you.
Come
Happy
on, you can do better than
birthday.
that.
Well, no, if I do any better, I'm going to get demonetized. I've already been copyright struck with my voice once. So I don't want to do it again.
That's exactly what I want to say. You're going to get copyright struck if you do any better.
Yeah, no, I've been told by idols to stay at the door. Julian Familiaris, so take a look at that lap time. 1:30.3. Jason Coetzee, 1:30.5. Yuri Piswat, 1:30.6. Jan Ferree jumping into 4th place, our defending champion, TCR champion, doing a 1:30.7. Then you have got the likes of William Bertha, 1:30.8. 1:5. Luke Lucchese just narrowly got beaten out with a 1:30.817. Byron Mitchell up into 7th place, a 1:30.8 as he was getting a bit skittish there with 44. Tristan de Norbrigger, he's in 8th place, followed by Paul Herber, who's chasing his way through. Good to see in the Alt Martini colours. He's been on a fantastic run. Andrew J.S. Thomas in 10th place. Werner Swart in 11th. Bago Krobler in 12th place. Swace Jabir out in 13th. 14th is Peter Jabir. Timothy Stanton. Rolf Tillman. Roland Ferreira. He is done and dusted. He's in the Sabat car. Followed by Robbie Teenings. Louis Nokia. Louis Nokia. Chase Herald. Etienne Swart. Doe Herber. Then we got Aiden Russell, followed by Herman Lazarus, Vainan Kursop, Gabriel DeSantos, Nico Kilman, Yaz Samai, Christopher Bosch, Jeff Hancock, Hilton Nixon, Richard Herring, and Arno Cross, rounding out the field for this evening. And looking at the times, Janovan, we're in for a very, very close race, as the top 8 currently running in that 1:30 margin. So under a second of one another. Julian Familiar is putting in a fantastic lap time of a 1:30.357 as his quickest lap time, and he's still looking to try and improve it on this lap. So a couple of guys hoping to really get the legs up on everyone and claw their way through. But gentlemen, I mean, this is going to be a race for the ages. Something a little bit bigger, something that the guys can maneuver their way around. Your thoughts on how this is going to go, considering how the drivers have been frantically refining their setups. We both seen out on the WhatsApp groups, the Discords, everything. The guys trying to get the leg up on the competition, and even with chaps going and asking each other, listen, I'm struggling with this. Can you give me a bit of insight?
Well, Stephen, having looked through the timing boards, I mean, we're basically sitting with the top 13 within a second of each other. And yeah, we've been monitoring the chat. Open setups is, I think it's something new for a lot of the guys. And some of them are, taking to it. Others are struggling a little bit with it because, let's face it, in iRacing, there's sometimes a lot of fixed setup racing going on where you can't change that much on the car. But now having an open setup where you can do whatever you want as long as it passes tech, and me and you are quite familiar with that. So to us, it comes naturally, and I prefer doing open setup racing because I can set the car up to do it what I wanted to do and not have to drive or learn how to drive the car and drive the car how the car wants to be driven, if you understand what I'm saying.
No, it's definitely an interesting one, and it's good to see the guys going and embracing it and working through it, which is always great to see. And guys learning to do a little bit of tinkering work on these cars, and it's interesting to see different things. I know for like Richard Herring and Rob Herring, they actually made the car loose instead of understeer. They made the rear very loose to try and swing it in, where I know others have aimed for a more fixed setup, the more tighter setup to go for it. And this is what's made it very, very interesting. I do want to point out a nice little move out the way there for both Etienne Swart and what looked to be Jason Coetzee. They moved out of the way, allowed Hilton to get past and continue on his way. So it's good to see guys having a bit of etiquette out on the circuit, but also the positivity coming in, because it's not just keep a setup close to one's chest. They've been rather open with how to get these things up and going and get the drivers to talk to one another a little bit more. No red bunding tape across the pits that you're not allowed to go through, and you're trying to get a camera through there. The guys are being a bit considerate to it and helping out. Even the guys that, bit of contact there as Hilton was a bit slow, and Van Kersop looked like he went into the back of Etienne Swart.
Well, it's exactly what you said. It opens up the setup. And you spoke about Richard and his dad, opting for a little bit more of a loose setup. Now, for the viewers that are not all that familiar with touring car, TCR racing, you can actually set the rear wing to a negative. Now, a lot of the try do that on a GT3 car and see what happens.
So basically, for anyone out there, it's flattening out the wing, even creating a slight lift on it to just create it as an air brake. And that's to help get the cars to turn in a little bit better. But while we're taking a look at that, let's go and take a look at the grid. As we see the grid all lining up. Yuri Swart will be starting out in first place. He's hoping to try and get a bit more of a jump over the rest of the field, along with Julian Familiaris, Luke Lucchesi, Jason Coetzee, Byron Mitchell, Johan Fourie, along with William Bertha, Tristan de Norbrigger. As we go further down, Swayze Joubert, Peter Joubert, Timothy Stanton, Rudolf Tullerman, Chase Herald, Roland Ferreira, Robbie Teenings, Louis Nokia, and as we go further down, Van Kersop, Gabriel De Santos, Yaz Samai, Jeff Hancock, Nico Kilman, Christopher Birch, Richard Herring, Hilton Nixon in 32nd, 33rd, Arno Kruis. 33 cars lining up for the race, ladies and gentlemen, and it is going to be a proper doozy, but the sharp end of the field is what we're going to keep an eye out on, as Yuri Swart from the standing start wants to get past Julian Familiaris and keep the run. We saw Yuri run away in round number 1. Let's see if he can try recreate the magic. But a lot of the drivers have been doing far more tinkering on these cars to ensure they get sorted out to go for the chase. Luke Lucchesi hoping to also get a bit of a launch off a line. He's going to be in 3rd place. I know a lot of the guys are just doing final work onto their setups to ensure that they've got a full tank for 20 minutes of racing, and they don't want to be pitting anytime during this race. They have got open pit stops, and it does look like Luke Lucchesi's not going to make the line. So Julian Familiaris, Yuri Swart going to be starting it out. Jason Coetzee is clear. And away they go, but Julian having a terrible start, and it looks like we've got Jason Coetzee who climbed up, and Johan Fourie. So a couple of the guys getting a fantastic start as they make their way through turn 1. Yuri trying to go for the outside line, go defensive. Julian Familiaris also going in for a bit of a battle. Byron Mitchell going and forcing the likes of Jason Coetzee as he gets chased down, drops a wheel off the dirt. There's Johan Fourie trying to carve his way through. Tristan de Norbrigger up on the inside, making a stick. And here comes Jason retaliating as he dives past 33 TCR cars, and this is going to be a door-to-door race from start to finish. But Luke Lucchesi, who's starting from the pits from 3rd place, has to start all the way down in 33rd. So let's see how he's going to try and carve his way through the field as Fourie gets a poor drive. That's allowed Paul Herbert to get onto the back of him. Andrew Thomas lining himself up. He's going to go for the pass and going to try go late on the brakes. Can he make it stick? And just couldn't get the run. William Bertha now right onto the back of him. Werner Swart also giving chase. He has got Chase Herald looking left and right. Chase Herald trying to go around the outside, goes to the inside, locks it up into the corkscrew, and what a send was that.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant first lap of racing, Stephen. Very close racing, some 2-3 cars wide as they make their way around. This is going to be an awesome race that lies ahead as we have a look at the guys fighting it out around the track. Looking up on the inside.
That's Chase Herald, sends it, and slight little bit of a dodge there, and that looked to be Peter Joubert that dropped down. And Peter Joubert now lining up side by side with Chase Herald as they try and battle their way through. Chase doing a fantastic job to try and keep it all together, and Peter just late on the brakes. Is he going to run out wide, managing to keep it together? Contact, and everyone taking evasive maneuvers. Thankfully, the drivers are off the circuit, and that's allowing everyone to get by just okay. But a very do-or-die maneuver for the guys as they make their way through. Back up to the front, though, Yuri Umpi-Swart with Julian Familiaris right up his tailpipe, trying to look for the pass. And these little Honda Civics are giving everything they got as they battle their way through. Tristan de Norberg is in third place, and he's got Jason Coetzee right on the back of him, really trying to push up on that rear gearbox. Goes up on the inside, now heading into the corkscrew. Side by side, they're going to make their way through. Hard on the brakes, slings it in, battles it around, and makes his way past. Beautiful run for Jason, and Tristan having to just go a little bit harder on the brakes than planned. Now having to do everything he can to close down the distance. So a little bit of door-to-door action between the TCR cars, but we come to expect that from these cars, considering of how close you can race. And like Andrew Thomas, oh, a slight bit of contact with Werner Swart, under braking, gets it all back, and now has got Swace Jabir looking to go up on the inside. That Burger King car gonna try his best to go past the RDSA esports driver as they go side by side on the main straight.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant close racing between these two. Andrew S.J. Thomas, side by side, looking on the inside, closing the door in his face. Through turn one, very tight left-hander that we're going through. Now you're going through the sweeping right hand. You need to get your flow right through here. Otherwise, you can lose a lot of momentum on this straight. As we have a look at Swace Jubert, he's right on the rear bumper there. Not going to make his way through the sweeping right-hander. Tried to get close enough before the hard braking of the next left-hander, but at this stage, not close enough.
Yeah, definitely. These are little battles that the guys are going to have to deal with and figure out what's going on. But if we take a look just slightly ahead of them, we have got Werner Swart with William Bertha going and lining each other up. They're in for a great race as well. And these are just little battles right through the field the guys are having, which is good to see. I do want to point out, though, Luke Lucchesi, he's down in 28th place, clawing his way up from 33rd after a starting from the pit. So he's trying to make his way back up to the front. But out in first place, Yuri Umpi-Swart for now, and Julian Familiaris right on his tail with Jason Coetzee. He's broken away from Tristan de Norberger. Jan Ferrie has got Paul Herber all over the back of him as they charge their way through. And I've got to say, it's still for the front. It's everyone's game. A couple of cars pulling out of the pits as we see Herman Lazarus was peeling out of the pits. He's going to come out just after the apex of turn 2 and get going onto the straight once again. So a couple of amazing runs going on for these drivers as they power their way through. Just seeing, though, we've got a bit of contact, and that's Gabriel Dos Santos. What happened to Gabriel? Did he drop a wheel off on the dirt? There's a wheel off. Ah, corkscrew, misses Vainant, and monster impact.
Wow.
Yeah.
He missed it altogether. Oh, there's a bit of suspension, and that's not a one piece anymore.
I think Vainant got a little bit of a scare when he suddenly had a car come launching past him like that, which was... won't be lie, you kind of see your world, your whole life flash before your eyes at that point, and that's exactly what happened, but monstrous impact at the corkscrew.
Out in front, Yuri Umpi-Swart, he's got a Julian Familiaris problem. These two are really duking it out. 0.2 of a second between them, Stephen. So good to see this battle for the lead, and Yuri Umpi-Swart not running away with it. Julian Familiaris really keeping in check, tucking into that slipstream. Is he going to have enough straight to make an impact? Doesn't seem that close at this stage, but he's closing up. Yuri beautifully positioning the car and closing the door in his face and just saying, nope, you're not getting through. Oh, but there's millimeters between them as they go through turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, Yuri Swart, a very experienced driver in numerous front-engine racing, such as he actually drove a Super Cup in the Endurance not so long ago. Julian Familiaris is a very experienced driver. His whole family is very experienced in the world of motorsports, namely going and racing into the V8. So he's not too green or wet behind the ears for some close racing. Both these guys know each other all too well in the real world of motorsport. Another one I do want to bring up, Paul Herber and Jan Ferrari, they keeping a close race between each other. This battle for 5th and 6th. A little bit further down, Chase Herald is on the back of Roland Ferreira, and Roland having a great time out there, going and using the Sabat colors, hoping to keep a retro scheme. And Chase Herald showing the Sabat that maybe a bit of Liqui Moly can get past him, dives across the nose, and Roland trying everything he can to come back at him. Bago Krobler also closing down the distance on them as they battle it out. William Bertha not too far back in 12th with Etienne Swart. Etienne taking a look and seeing Robbie Teens going and closing down the distance as well. So up and down through the grid, some amazing racing going on, but side-by-side battle at the front. Yuri Swart and Julian Familiaris being the closest battle other than Swace Joubert and Arno Kraus, who are going side-by-side with one another. So there's some just fantastic racing. And with 20 minutes of racing around the circuit, 2 heats, might I add. This is first of 2 heats that they're going to be doing this evening. You're going to wear yourself out pretty much in a heartbeat while you battle your way around the circuit. So the guys have got to keep that in mind. Bago Krobler, though, out on the attack. Roland Ferreira just ahead of him. Dives up on the inside, side by side. Bago says that he's very comfortable around the circuit and is going to do everything he can to ensure that he keeps up the good luck, especially around the track, that he's had numerous success on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Richard Herring, he's a little bit further back and getting chased down. He's got Peter Joubert right on his tail. It does look like Richard's got a bit of damage, so is Peter, but Peter has closed the distance, but that's Black Ribbon's simulation machine not having an easy run. He's going to still try and stick it out, locking it up on the inside. And this is allowing Andrew Thomas to get involved in this 3-car battle as he has to try and take evasive maneuvers. Seeing the two going in really door-to-door action. Does look like Peter Joubert gets past Richard in a straight line. But now Andrew Thomas smells blood in the water.
Yeah, I mean, Richard flashing a little bit there. I think he backed out for that left-hander just as they went up to the corkscrew, because that's not a turn that you want to go side by side through. But now we've got Andrew S.J. Thomas right on his rear wing. I think Richard, he missed out a little bit there. Seems like he's struggling for pace. As you said, there's a little bit of damage on that Audi. But, this is extremely close going through the second last corner. Now they're going to be side by side for the last corner. And whoopsie.
Contact. Andrew having contact with Richard Herring as he gets turned round. And it did look like Andrew was a little bit trying to cut the curb to get past an ailing Richard Herring, but ultimately needed to turn into the corner, and Richard was pretty much straight lining in, the two of them coming to blows. William Bertha, Roland Ferreira, and Bago Krobler all in a bit of a tow at the moment. Roland Ferreira taking a look in his mirrors and seeing William Bertha right behind him, putting the pressure on. But with 10 minutes and 25 seconds completed, Yuri Swart leading out the field. Julian Familiaris in second. Jason Coetzee in third place. Fourth place, Tristan de Norbrigger. Johan Ferrari, Paul Herber in 6th place. Byron Mitchell in 7th. 8th, Werner Swart. Followed by Chase Herald, who's made a climb of 8 positions since the start. Bago Krobler in 10th. 11th, Roland Ferreira with William Bertha right behind him. Etienne Swart in 13th. Robbie Teens in 14th. Timothy Stanton in 15th. 16th is Christopher Bush, followed by Louis Nokia. And then we have got Peter Joubert, Andrew Thomas, Arno Kraus, Hilton Nixon up 11 positions. Well done. Richard Herring up 9 positions, trying to recover after a bit of a drive. Luke Lucchese trying to close down the distance to him, as he's lying in 23rd. 24th, Herman Lazarus, Rudolf Tilleman, Vainan Kursop, Swace Joubert, Nico Kilman, Jeff Hancox, Doe Herber with a retirement, Gabriel De Santos with a retirement as well. Yaz Samai looks like he's retired, and Aiden Russell as well. So a couple of cars retiring, unfortunately, but we're sure they will get them back out on the circuit come Heat 2 later this evening. And just seeing a bit of a thing flare up on my screen. Here is Byron Mitchell, and it looks like he had a bit of an interesting moment, a little bit of a brown pants moment. And I think it may be using out a bit of drive there. Oh, comes to a stop, and something went on.
Back to pits.
Byron Mitchell with a bit of a technical issue there has dropped him way down the order, and he drops into 23rd position. So hopefully he can get whatever was the problem sorted out and get back out on the circuit, because he was actually on a bit of a climb there. William Bertha, he's on the back of Roland Ferreira as our leaders still continue to battle out. This battle starting to heat up, and Ferreira doing a fantastic job, but William Bertha, as we know, is a very, very, I can put him like a bulldog. Once he's got the bone in his mouth and he wants to go for it, that's it. You ain't backing him off, and you can do everything you can. I've actually come to blows with him, so have you. And in some very, very exciting moments, and it looks like he's looking to have it at Laguna Seca, despite having what seems to be slight damage on the nose, but that's not costing him too much.
No, a slight modification on the front end of the car, but as you said, Stephen, he's not a driver that backs down. If he smells the blood, he's going to go after it, and really taking the fight here to Roland Ferreira in front of him, trying to fight his way past. But Stephen, we all know Laguna Seca, the places where you can get past safely without taking risks, there's not a lot of them. Last turn comes to mind, first turn comes to mind, but the rest of it, you really need to battle your way past the driver in front of them. As we have a look at Timothy Stanton, looks like he had a little bit of a moment there. Yeah,
he went out very wide and allowed Etienne Swart to get past him. I would have to say, oddly enough, there is a very good passing opportunity, and it's actually here to the corkscrew, because a lot of people, depending on where they brake, they can either drift out very, very wide and kill their drive, and as you come out the corkscrew, you really get the power down and go underneath them and undercut them. But or they are too slow and they brake before the crest of the hill, and you can just get past them that way. So there is a couple of passing moments that, if you're brave and you know the guys ahead of you, you can make a fantastic run. It does look like Andrew Thomas, though. He's dropping down the order a little bit. He's down into 18th place. I just saw his name dropping all the way down. Nico Kellerman looks like he had a bit of an issue. Let's take a look. There is Richard Herring right behind the Rockstar Energy trying to go, and Richard Herring got underneath him a little bit, and there's a contact into the wall, and that's Nico Kellerman having to get the car towed back after a bit of contact with the wall. So a couple of, as I said, you can get caught out. It can work for you or it can't work for you, but a bit of overzealous moves going on. But we've seen that so far. Last week also at Kota, we saw guys having a bit of overzealous moments, trying to get past one another as well. So it's good to see some very close racing, as we see at the front. This is a battle for first and second at the moment. They managed to open up a bit of a gap. 5 seconds, going 6 seconds on Jason Coetzee, who's in a little bit no man's land at the moment, but cannot slow down. Tristan de Norbrugge right on the back of him. Jan Ferreira also looking to carry a few points into the after Heat 1. He's currently in 5th place. Paul Gerber in 6th. Werner Swart in the no man's land. He's in 7th place. Chase Herald making up a bit of time. Bego Krobler, though, trying to close the distance to him. Roland Ferreira has got William Buerta right behind him, really trying to force a point at this. And then you've got Robbie Teens, followed by Etienne Swart. Timothy Stanton doing a fantastic job. He's trying to break out of the tow, and does look like he's just giving way to a couple of the drivers. Christopher Bush, he's trying to make his way up. Peter Joubert, as he makes his way to the line, crossing it. Luis Nokia is having a great run out there. Andrew Thomas back out on circuit. Arno Kraus, Hilton Nixon, Richard Herring still going, and he's got Luke Lucchese in 22nd position up. He lost out at the start, but seems to be making his way back up through the field, getting past Richard Herring. And now he's got Herman Lazarus trying to make up a bit of ground as he takes a look at the battle just ahead of him. Roloff Tillerman, Vainan Kursop, Jeff Hancox, and unfortunately a couple of guys retiring for Heat 1. So some interesting battles going on right the way through, but at the same time, not much place to lift off, because there isn't as much breathing room as guys would like as we're on to the final lap, and keeping an eye at Yuri Umpi-Swart and Julian Familiaris as they carve their way through turn 1, turn 2.
Yeah, this is going to be a battle that's going to be right until the line, Stephen. I mean, there's not even half a second, 0.3 of a second between these two cars. Julian knows that he's now only got 1 lap to make this pass. He would have gotten that message in his ears that this is the final lap. Half a lap basically now to go. He's got maybe 2 places to pass Yuri if he's
Running
right. That's going to kill his drive up to the corkscrew. They've got 1 corner to go. Then they're going to get on this hill up to the corkscrew, but that would have killed his drive. Don't know if he's close enough. Getting into that slipstream, how late can he brake? I don't think he's going to try and make the pass. I think he's going to try and line him up on that last corner, try and stick as close to possible as Yuri Swart in front of him. At this stage, not really making that much of an impact. So we've got 2 corners to go. This is the second last corner. They try and get the drive through here. Don't think he's close enough to look on the inside. He's going to try and do the slipstream up to the line. I don't think he's close enough.
Too wide.
Too wide. Killed his drive there.
Yuri
Swart.
Yeah, carry on.
You can say it.
As he gets the drift.
Oh.
Too hectic. Gets it. Yuri Swart coming across the line. Going to be happy with that. Julian Familiaris in 2nd place. Jason Coetzee out in 3rd. Tristan de Norbrugge taking 4th. Along with 5th place going to Jan Free. Paul Herber. Werner Swart comes across the line. He takes 7th place. 8th is Chase Herald. Bago Hrobler also doing a phenomenal job. He's in 9th. 10th place is Roland Ferreira. Robbie Teens followed by William Bertha, just not able to close down the distance. Timothy Stanton right behind him in 13th place. 14th is Etienne Swart. Peter Jabert along with Christopher Bush getting chased down by Andrew Thomas, who just couldn't get him to a line. Lewis Nokia off to a great start. He's in 18th place. 19th, Arno Kras has gained 14 positions, might I add. He actually started in 32nd position. So he was in 33rd, then got up into 32nd. Luke Lucchese up into 20th position. Hilton Nixon in 21st. Richard Herring in 22nd, 23rd, Herman Lazarus, Rudolf Tilleman, Vainan Kursop in 25th, 26th is Jeff Hancock, Swayze Jabir, Byron Mitchell, Nico Killerman, Doe Herber, Gabriel Dos Santos, Yaz Samai, and Aiden Russell, rounding out our 33 cars for Heat 1 done and dusted as they make their way around. Sure, what a race.
Can I just point out something?
Yes.
We've got 33 cars on the grid. Now, according to the point scoring system, position 1 through to position 32 scores points. So there's only 1 non-point scoring position in this race. So, you know, even if you get involved in an accident or a little
whoopsie,
let's call it a whoopsie, you know, you still got points to drive for there. It's still worthwhile getting back out on track and try and, you know, just grab a couple of positions to grab the points.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is to try and close the distance down. But with that done and dusted, it's going to be an interesting one. So let's see what the guys are going to do come heat number 2, a little bit down the line. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. But ultimately, what a run, Janneman. I've got to say, I'm a little bit caught out on that one, because it was brilliant. Some brilliant racing out there.
Yeah, especially, you know, the race between Yuri Swart, Julian Familiaris out in front. But Stephen, there were battles all over the grid. I mean, if we go through the timing screens, 4th and 5th position finished 0.7 of a seconds apart. Then we've got 13th and 12th position. They finished 0.35 of a seconds apart. Again, 17th and 16th place, half a second apart, and 21st and 20th, 0.7 of a second apart. I mean, those are battles up and down the field.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely incredible. And we're going to do it all again with our second heat that's going to be starting up very, very shortly. So don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us here out on Raceface for this evening. Glad to see you guys here. We got peaceful, smooth music coming in. Oh, that sounds like a person I want to get to know. Gabriel dos Santos also going and saying that was a brown pants moments. So Gabriel going and also giving a bit of a shout out there after a bit of an exciting run. And Loud Alliance, which is part of the Project Vapor team, going and giving a bit of a shout out. It's good to see guys from other sims also showing support to our iRacing community that had a fantastic one. And let's see what's going to happen next.
But, will it be a battle for the lead again, or will we see something different come race 2? It's not uncommon, Stephen, to see a totally different race come to. A lot of people think, it's going to be same old, and more often than not, it's not. It's a totally different race.
Yeah, no, it's going to be.
You might win.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, we've seen Yuri Swart, in the first race, he managed to, round number 1, he managed to pull a massive gap. And as we caught on the recap a little bit earlier, that's, there's these distances. But it seems like soon as the track started opening up a bit more, the distances shortened, because now you're trying to get the flow of the car and your competitors have more time to stick in that slipstream and pull themselves along. So I gotta say, WeatherTech Laguna Raceway has been a very interesting run for the guys to be able to do it. And it's a very interesting circuit itself. 11 corners of racing. It is a 3.6 kilometer circuit versus the 2.4 to 2 kilometer circuit that they were racing on. So that's going to really change things up. But I do want to just check a little bit, since we brought up a few of the old, like the Castro Racing. Let's talk about Laguna Seca for a second. Opened up in 1957, and it's been running in its state for quite some time. It's had some of the best racing over the course of its life. It has had the legendary Can-Am series. It's been there, those 1,000 horsepower monsters that really dominated. And you also had, like the Shadow looked like a go-kart with a massive 6-liter V8 producing 1,000 horsepower behind your head, going and racing. Eventually killed out by the Porsches coming in, bringing the same cars that they raced in the endurance racing, bringing over to the Trans Am, and that was the end of it for the Can-Ams. They've had Trans Am racing. They've got IMSA racing that's been going on, the Kart IndyCar series, the Rolex Sports Car series, Skip Barber, and so much more on this phenomenal circuit. And now something that can be added to the repertoire is the Raceface TCR Championship Season 2, heading out and coming and creating history at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for it. Honestly, there's a bit of history. I think South Africa has just got it on Laguna Seca. I'm really looking forward to this.
I think it's going to be a close one. I'm busy having a look through the timing sheets of the first race. I mean, there was some pretty close lap times being run between the guys. The field up and down the field, it's very, very close racing. You get a gap here and there where the lap times do differ a bit, but overall it doesn't matter where you run in the field, whether it's up on the front or in the midfield or to the back, you're going to have a battle on your hand with somebody.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be an interesting one as we wait for the server to open up. I actually got a message from Lunokia saying the Farino was actually driven by his uncle. So it wasn't driven by him, it was driven by his uncle that raced the car back in the early days. But gone and taken a look in between the heats just to see the little bit of information. Got a smile on his face. So good to see a couple of the guys jumping in and having a chat, not only out on the grandstands, out on the Raceface grandstands. Make sure you hit the subscribe button along with the bell notification icon, because plenty of racings to come. But also, guys, getting to have a bit of fun, sending private messages saying, hey, thanks for the shout out, thanks for all the different parts of history coming in. And that's what we like to do. Butcher names, bring up history that you really didn't want to know about, and it's good barroom talk that you're sitting on the bar stool and say, did you know that going out on the circuit is a bit of a challenge. Did you know that turn 2 was called Andretti Hairpin? And it's where he's had the biggest of accidents out in turn 2.
Did you know that Stephen Koenig is the walking encyclopedia of Raceface?
I think not. That has to go. That has to go to Tim.
Oh yeah, we forgot about Tim. How can we forget about Tim?
Some say Tim the cameraman caused an aircraft carrier to ramp off a Ferrari, not the other way around.
Huh.
The more you know about Tim.
I'm trying to picture that, but all that we know is he's called Tim, so let's not question that.
He's Tim. That's it. Tim the cameraman, and we're very thankful for Tim the cameraman for all the hard work that he does. But that being said, let's head over as the server opens up once again for our 33 cars to take to the track here at Laguna Seca. And if you just joined us, big welcome to you guys to have a bit of fun here for the Raceface TCR Championship Season 2, which is just mind-blowing. We're managed to get it going for another season of pure utter chaos. And the guys going to have a bit of fun out and with some front wheel action, a little bit different to the usual GT3 racing for tin tops. We've had quite a vast amount for single seaters, but our tin tops, I've got to say, this is one of the few classes that have come back. We had a TCR many years ago in Race Room that didn't last very long, but it's now returned in a new shell, being Iracing.
Well, yeah, the TCRs, we need to chat about it. The TCRs are really a popular class of racing in iRacing. Not just these short sprint races, but they also get used quite a lot in endurance races where you get the multi-class races going. We did a race not that long ago where the GT3s were racing with the TCRs, and we did a 6-hour race in a TCR and a Hyundai Elantra. So it's not just the sprint races they loved in, it's also the enduros.
Yeah, they most commonly used in the Nürburgring Endurance Series, along with the IMSA Pilot Challenge, which is the second class. There's the Porsche Cup, the GT4s, the TCRs, and I think the Toyota 86s race in there as well. But also a couple of guys actually recreating, using it for like the Britcar 24-hour, where they had that was last year. It was the first ever virtual Britcar 24-hour under UK Motorsport, and there was a Mazda MX-5 class, a TCR class, and GT3. So a TCR car, even though it's a bought car, you can race it everywhere. It's one of these, go and ask any driver of their type of cars, and every single person on iRacing will say they own a TCR car because it's just used. It's like a GT3. It's just a commonly used vehicle.
Yeah, I've got, if I'm not mistaken, the only TCR that I don't have is the Honda. I think you have all of them. I
have got all of them. I have done testing in all of them. But I have to say my favorite car has to go out to the likes of the Hyundai Veloster, which I have nicknamed the... What did I nickname it again? I called it the Velociraptor. And it was for one of the endurance races.
Not quite a Velociraptor, but...
Well, okay. it's got the short stubby wheelbase. So it's kind of a Velociraptor.
You know what is a Velociraptor?
Yes. What?
In car terms now.
Do tell. Do tell.
That is the Ford F-150 Raptor that they put the supercharger on. I think it was Hennessy that did the conversion. And they called that the Velociraptor.
Very true. Very true. So as our guys make...
See, I know a thing or two about cars.
There we go. Okay. Did you know that the darts that were built in South Africa, the original the guy that made the darts used a boat as a template, used the dinghy, a fishing boat dinghy, as a template for the bodywork. Just a useless chuck out there. But out on circuits...
I kind of see that.
That's it. Go look it up, guys. Dart. Go look at what a dart is. So, taking a look out on circuit, the guys are now making their way around for the likes of their qualifying. And I see Van Kersop said he almost died. His mirror got very full very quick, and the seat got very full very quick as well. So he's hoping not to have the same interesting...
But Vaynard,
Yep,
did you die?
Did you die? That's a good... Did you get unalived? Questions. Right, so while we're talking about all the stuff going on, Jason Kutsia, he's coming across the line to start his lap, and then we have got Paul Rackstraw. No. Is it? Paul Rackstraw is, and I think, and I stand to be corrected, is Andrew Rackstraw's dad. And Andrew Rackstraw went and drove, I think it was a Ginetta. It wasn't too far long ago. But Andrew Rackstraw, a very, very big name in motorsport. And Paul Rackstraw got his kid into it and gave his now, well, Andrew is a second-generation race driver. Paul might have been the original. But I stand to be corrected. But it's good to see a Paul Rackstraw out there. Then we have got Johan Ferree. He's having a bit of fun with Peter Joubert back out on circuit. Werner Swart looking to better his time. Byron Mitchell returning after a bit of a horrendous race in race 1. He's hoping to get a little bit more of a better time this time. Van Kersop back out on circuit. Herman Lazarus, Chase Herald, William Bertha, Gabriel Dos Santos, Richard Herring is out on track, not joined by his dad by the looks of it this time around. Arno Kraus is also going to be having a lap or two. Etienne Swart, Suez Joubert, Nico Killerman, Doug Herber. We saw had a bit of a tough time out there. It was one of the cars that unfortunately retired. Yuri Umpi Swart, followed by Tristan de Norbrigger, Louis Nokia, let me get that right. Rulof Tillerman, Robbie Teens, Andrew Thomas, Bego Krobler, Julian Familiaris is going to be out, Christopher Birch, Hilton Nixon, Roland Ferreira, Luke Lucchesi, Nico Killerman, and Aiden Russell. Doesn't look like Yasamai rejoining for this one. Unfortunately, not able to get that car back out onto the circuit after race 1. So, very interesting times being said by all our drivers. Guys having some positive and hoping to make a bit of a move there. I did get notified that Hilton Nixon might have overfueled, putting in 44 litres for a 20-minute race. Yeah, a little bit much. Fastest time out the circuit, Johan Ferree, 1:31.7.
Yeah, I think those times are going to come drastically down. It's not going to be long, I think, before we are on the 1:30s. But 44 litres for a 20-minute race in a TCR car. Now, me and you know that on a full tank, a TCR car can run for roughly 90 minutes. So 44 it's almost enough for a 45-minute race. He could have done both races.
Yeah, there was a little bit of an exciting time. William Bertha out in second place at the moment. He's hoping to better his time. Werner Swart, Timothy Stanton, Rulof Tillerman, Paul Rackstraw out in 6th place. Peter Joubert. Just a big welcome to Paul Rackstraw, one of our newer drivers. So, welcome, Mr. Rackstraw. Glad to have you around. Peter Joubert out in 8th, 9th, Bego Krobler, Jeff Hancock still giving everything he can. And he's in the bang car, but many people will know him as Jeff Send It Hancock. Even his YouTube is called Send It.
He's going out with a bang.
That's it.
Going out with a bang.
So he's having a bit of fun out there. Luke Lucchesi putting in the best lap time. Does drop a wheel a little bit on the dirt. Trying to get a little bit more drive. Oh, there we go. That's definitely not going to count for a lap. But a 1:30.8. Johan Ferree going into second place. Tristan de Norbrigger making his way through. Got a fair amount of traffic as he carves his way through the field. Herman Lazarus, he's out in 4th, followed by Robbie Teens. Peter Joubert jumping himself up into 3rd place with a great time. And guys looking to improve as they make their way through. So a couple of guys, as you said, keep an eye out. We're going to see these lap times starting to fall. A 1:30.8 is to beat by Luke Lucchesi. We saw the times getting closer to a 1:30.2, 1:30.3. So expect to see the times start trundling down as everyone gets a little bit more used to the racing once again and gets back out on circuit. But I do want to take this time to say a big thank you to all the drivers and teams, because without them, this wouldn't be happening, and we're just seeing more and more names coming into the series and showing off what they can do, which is just mind-blowing. It's good to see the guys coming in and just bringing in the friends for a bit of fun, especially on a Tuesday evening. So shout out to you guys. Thank you very much on behalf of the entire Raceface and myself, and along with Young and Press, because we've been enjoying the commentating with all the racing out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally different racing to what we used to commentating on. Me and you, Steven, normally we did the GT3s for so long that I love, being able to commentate on the touring cars, because it's such a different class of racing to the GT3s. Oops, as we see one of the cars running white there.
I think that was Luke Lucchesi.
Luke Lucchesi, maybe bailing out, you never know. But it's such different racing than the GT3s we normally do. And personally, I'm gonna say it, I tend to like the touring car racing just a little bit more. It's a lot more closer, if you can say that. A little bit more what they normally say: if you finish the race with both rear view mirrors still attached, you haven't really raced.
Well, this is the thing. The guys are really putting in the extra bit of effort, and with all the drivers coming in, bringing their friends and family along, it's always good to see. So, just got to say thank you. And also to our spectators out there, we see you guys, because at the moment, I just want to point out, we've got over 80 people watching the racing for Heat 2. So to you guys out there, thank you very much. Good to have you. And welcome. Hit the subscribe button along with the bell notification icon. Wow. I mean, that's quite a turnout on the grandstands as well, especially for a live stream on a Tuesday evening. And I know there's a fair amount of people with load shedding at the moment. Julian Familiaris out in first place. Jason Coetzee in second place. Luke Lucchesi in third place. Chase Herald in fourth. Fifth is Jan Ferree, followed by Tristan de Norbrugge. Byron Mitchell in seventh. Eighth, William Bertha. Werner Swart in ninth. Bego Krobler in 10th place. Peter Joubert in 11th. Paul Herber in 12th. 13th is Roland Ferreira. Timothy Stanton. Herman Lazarus, Robbie Teens, Louis Nokia, I do apologize, actually dropping down as we've got some times closing in. 19th place is Vaynon Kursop, Suresh Joubert, Aidan Russell, Roloff Tilleman, Paul Rackstraw, Andrew Thomas, Christopher Bursch, along with Jeff Hancock's Doe Herber, Nico Killerman, Gabriel Dos Santos is back out onto the track, Hilton Nixon and Richard Herring in 31st. Two guys that still need to get a lap in, Arno Kraus and Yuri Umpi-Swart. It does look like Yuri's going to be starting from the back of the field again.
Yeah, that's what I'm sitting and thinking. Is he going to start from the back of the field again like he did the last time?
Now the question comes in, is he taking it as a challenge at this point to try and do it, or is he taking that the track's a bit busy, didn't quite get the lap time he wanted in, rather go and drop back and try and work your way through, get your head in the game for the race on hand. But that does give it for Julian Familiaris, Jason Coetzee, Luke Lucchesi, Chase Herald, Jan Ferree, Tristan de Norbrugge. The list can go on and on and on, with the guys really hoping to get a bit more of a run. And especially for our defending champion, who didn't have the best of races come round one, looking to make up some points in round two, has been on a strong show. But Julian Familiaris, who was right up the rear end of Yuri Umpi-Swart, is hoping to get going. And looking, Yuri now getting himself out onto the circuit. I think he was listening in and realized that maybe I need to get the car out on the track, because it's going to be a bit of a battle to claw his way up through the field, and that's just going to go and hand the cards to everyone up above him.
Yeah, and he's got basically 4.5 minutes to make his way around and get a flying lap in, because there's just under or over 4 minutes to go in this qualifying section. So he's got it all to do, Stephen, if he wants to make his way up the field. And just a little bit of traffic that can get in his way can really damage his lap times and put him in that midfield come the start of the race. As we have a look at Jason Coetzee making his way around, starting another flying lap. He's going to try and make his way up the field, because there's literally nothing between,
Jason puts himself into second place.
Yeah. Sorry about that one.
130.514. Julian Familiaris, 130.401. Jan Ferree with a 130.6. Luke Lucchesi with a 130.8. Tristan de Norbriger with a 130.931. Chase Herald with a 130.969 as he claws his way through. I mean, under a second for the top 6 currently. Then you got Andrew Thomas doing a 131.112. Got to get that right. William Bertha with a 131.2 as he is a quickest lap time. Then you've got Byron Mitchell, 131.3. And Peter Joubert. I mean, the guys are keeping within that 131, 132 range as a lap time. But soon as it gets into the race, we do see those 133s, between the 32 and a 33 as the main lap times for everyone, especially with a more of a full tank compared to a qualifying run of low fuel. But the guys also taking things into perspective of not pushing as hard as they can. They want to go and get themselves in a valuable spot, especially for a standing start, which does change it up from the usual fly. There's only there is only 4 categories in Raceface that run that. The 2 Formula 1s, one on Automobilista and one on Formula 1 2023, and the F4 and TCR, so the only ones with standing starts. And a lot of these guys have been practicing their standing starts to try and get them a little bit more paced.
Yeah, because as we all know, standing starts is something you can get horribly wrong. Not so much in the front-wheel drive cars. There you can pick up a lot of wheel spin and basically go nowhere. But on the rear-wheel drive counterparts, you can see them get all sort of lively on those standing starts if you pick up a nice bit of wheel spin on your rear-wheel drive vehicle. And we've seen 1 or 2 guys just take a short left on the start line and basically go nowhere.
Including ourselves more than once.
Including ourselves. You know, it's... did you know that I never officially made the starting line in one of my F4 races?
True.
I was on the grid.
True.
I was on the grid. Never made the starting line, though.
That's very true. That's very true. You do have moments that get a little bit interesting. But overall, guys are having a great time out there and putting in some great lap times. With Yasamai missing out of the grid, though, we still got 33 cars, thanks to Mr. Rackshaw joining us for Heat 2. And that's a testament, I've got to say. There's not many fields that you can have these monster fields. And if memory serves me right, we should, if everyone manages to get on, we should have roughly about 40 to 45 cars in a race at one time that can be done, which does make the life a bit interesting for all the drivers out there. But once again, it's great to see old names, new names, familiar names, and new names coming to the world of sim racing to come and have a bit of fun with us here at Raceface. And if you guys are enjoying the content, enjoying the fun, and want to be a part of it, head over to RaceFace.Pro out in the www.RaceFace.Pro. And also, if you're out on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon, as we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers. That is my Christmas goal that I'm going for. And let's see if we'll be able to get that before the end of the year. 1,000 subscribers.
Your Christmas present.
My Christmas present, 1,000 subscribers. Because considering last year, we're only sitting at 700. Julian Familiaris out in first place. Jason Coetzee, he's hoping to close down the distance at the moment. He has got Jan Ferree in third place as he tries to make a little bit of a go. And there is our sector times at the moment. Coetzee having a great Sector 2. Okay, Sector 3. Couldn't get ahead of Ferree in Sector 3. Sector 4 was a lot better. He will be retaining that second place. Luke Lucchesi, though, he is going and finishing out in fourth place. Byron Mitchell in likes of fifth. Tristan de Norbriger in sixth at the moment. He's trying to better his lap time. Chase Herald looks like he's calling it quits. He's done his lap. Urian Piswat is in 12th place at the moment and still stomping his way around the circuit, hoping to get a little bit better. He's trying to improve his times. Sector 1 was good. Sector 2 was good. Sector 3, not so great. Sector 4 was better, and just not having it. Will be finishing out in 12th place. Roelof Tillman, he was still out there. Herman Lazarus as well. So a couple of guys trying to improve their lap times, but ultimately time has run out, and we will be heading to the grid shortly.
So how do you like that pole time of Julian Familiaris? A 1:30.075. That is more than 0.4 of a second quicker than our second place man, Jason Kutsia. So it was a flying lap. We almost got into the 29s there.
It's phenomenal stuff. The guys are really pushing these cars harder and harder every time they go out, and the racing's getting more and more fierce. But at the same time, the guys are coming out of their shell. They're getting used to the cars. They're getting into it. They're having a bit more fun. They're working out what's needed to try and claw their way through. And honestly, I'm super, super excited. So out in first place, Julian Familiaris, Jason Coetzee, Jan Free, Luke Lucchesi, Byron Mitchell, Tristan de Norbrugge, William Bertha, Chase Herald, along with Peter Jabert, Timothy Stanton, Paul Rackshaw, Paul Herber, along with Roelof Tillman, Herman Lazarus, Swayze Jabert, Robbie Teens, along with Etienne Swart, Nico Killerman, Gabriel De Santos, Vaynon Kursup, Christopher Bursch, Hilton Nixon, Doe Herber, Richard Herring, and rounding out in 33rd position is Arno Kraus. 33 cars for Heat 2, Janneman. This is a monstrous field. You and I both know nerves are going to be on the line for every single one of these drivers. Julian Familiaris not having a Yuri Umpi-Swart near him, but has got a Jason Coetzee and a Jan Fourie. Jan Fourie, being the defending champion, has all on the cards at the moment to try and get a good run and get past Luke Lucchesi. Had a phenomenal run out in round one. Did land up with a few hitches here and there, but out in 4th place, he's trying to make a bit of a run. He's got Byron Mitchell and Tristan de Norbrugge right behind him. And I know Mark de Norbrugge will be keeping a close eye on Tristan. William Bertha, Chase Herald, Andrew Thomas, as they all lined up on the line. But eyes are going to be front and center at the start of the grid. Turn 1 is not going to be an easy. Lights on. Red light. 1, 2, 3, 4. Green. And away we go for the start of Heat 2. And, take a look. Jason having a terrible start. Falling down the order. Guys having to just dodge left and right. And is he gone from 2nd place down the order?
Wow.
Byron Mitchell getting a great drive. He launches his way around, trying to keep Tristan at bay. But ultimate win, loss, lose there is going to have to be the likes of Jason, who drops from 2nd to 14th place. And, 13th place now. 11 positions before turn 1.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there. It didn't look like he picked up that much wheel spin. Did he, I don't know, shift the car into 2nd maybe by mistake off the line and just did not get a pull away? I don't know, maybe something will have to
carnage
find
behind.
out.
There is Jason. Jason's part of that carnage. I just saw that Durex machine, and let's see if we can try and go back and see a little bit. But yeah, he landed up with a bit of a problem. Nico Kilman was also part of an issue a bit earlier. So let's see if we can try and get a bit of the carnage that went on. But Jason was part of an interesting development. Guys, unfortunately, having disconnects. And there's a contact. But yeah, some of the guys having some technical difficulties out there. But, what a blow for the likes of Coetzee, who had a fantastic qualifying, but just didn't work out. Andrew Thomas, he's trying to catch up to Chase Herald, but has got a Luke Lucchesi on the back of him, really pushing as hard as he can. Byron Mitchell has got Tristan de Norbrugge on him, and it does look like Yuri Umpi-Swart up into 9th place, getting past William Bertha, and now on the charge, he gets right up behind Andrew Thomas and Paul Rackshaw, who's stuck on the outside. He's trying to go around the outside. Paul Rackshaw doing a little bit of a maneuver to try and get past. Wasn't able to get it. Now he's got William Bertha to go and keep him for company as side by side. He drops a wheel on the dirt, but wow, what a race.
That's some seriously good racing going side by side through there, and they're not giving up. They're all over the backside of each other as we have a look at Yuri Biswat trying to make his way up the field. He's got to go on the inside again, but decides to.
He forced Andrew
Thomas. Yeah, he forced Andrew Thomas to basically outdrive himself, but
it does look like 3 wide in the corkscrew.
That never was going to work.
But what a save. Yeah, well done, William Bertha, but not going to work too well on that one. Julian Familiaris, though, a 1:39.2 is his lap time as he gets going once again. So he's trying to make a little bit of headroom with Ferree right behind him. Byron Mitchell's got Tristan the Dorbrigger and Chase Herald on his tail. Luke Lucchese trying to break away from the chaos behind him. Yuri Biswat closing down the distance. And Andrew Thomas has got Paul Rackshaw along with Paul Herber right behind him. Swayze Jabir going to come in and show why he's the king here at Laguna Seca. In 11th place, William Bertha in 12th place. After the spin and recovery, 12th is not bad. Well done, buddy. Roland Ferreira in 13th. 14th is Etienne Swart. Louis Nokia right behind. He is in 15th, along with Herman Lazarus, Christopher Bush, Gabriel dos Santos right behind him. Richard Herring is going and closing down the distance. He's got Hilton Nixon trying to get a little bit closer to him. Peter Jabir, who was part of an earlier accident, is in 21st. 22nd is Timothy Stanton. Robert Teens, Nico Kellerman in 24th. Arno Kraus in 25th. 26th, Aiden Russell. Rulof Turman, along with Werner Swart. Vainan Kursop has got Bego Hrobler right behind him. Jeff Hancock's closing down the distance. He's also trying to make a bit of time as our cars make their way through. He was also part of the earlier carnage. Jason Kutsia and Doe Kerber. Does look like Doe is out of the race, and so is Jason going and unfortunately retiring. My heart goes out to Jason, though. I mean, from a nightmare of a start, as we see Van Kursop with Bego Krobler in a bit of a shot. Oh, they landed up coming to blows with one another. Bit of a strange one, actually.
Yeah, down the straight.
Yeah, I'll try and see if I can try to pick up what happened there, but that was a bit of a strange incident that went on with Bego Krobler and Van Kursop, and I'm wondering what happened. So let's go take a look back and just see what happened. Up on the inside, side by side with the two, and came across a little bit of, and Van Kursop was still there. Everyone having to take avoidance, but a bit of contact between the two and a fair amount of damage. It did look like we've also have Swayze Jabir in the pits with a bit of damage as well. So a couple of guys not having the best heat too, but others having a superb race. And gotta say, I think we're in for a very interesting one. Yuri Biswat, though, up into 6th place. He's up 6 positions. Paul Rackshaw, I've got to point out, for a driver that we haven't seen this season and last season coming in, he's really doing a great job in 7th place. Andrew Thomas right behind him, trying to pressurize him and force a mistake out of him, is also having a great run out there. So some very, very interesting racing going on right the way through the field. Chase Herald, though, has got Luke Lucchese all over the back of him, that RDSA Pantera racing machine, over Chase Herald in the liquid molly colors.
Yeah, and we've also got the likes of Byron Mitchell not too far behind, so he's trying to chase these two down. Chasing off to Luke and Chase. How's that for you?
Oh, that's it.
But yeah, well, at this stage, Chase Herald, he's got his rearview mirrors full of Luke Lucchese. Luke closing up on him, trying to find his way past. But look at Byron Mitchell closing up on this little battle. He is now within a second of this, so this is going to be a 3-car battle very soon. The Durant Motorsport car of Byron Mitchell following the RDSA car of Luke Lucchese, and out in front, the slippery liquid molly car of Chase Herald.
Yeah, but don't count out Yuri Biswat. He's actually pulling a bit of a train behind him, as he's got Paul Rackshaw and Andrew Thomas going and closing down the distance. They also making up a fair amount of time. Paul Herber also keeping within that tow, and William Bertha as well. So a couple of guys having a bit of an awesome race, and just see Nokia flaring up with yellow flags. He landed up having an incident. And looks like he caught it. There might have been a slide towards, and thankfully a gap in the grandstand. Slight damage to the nose as he rejoins, but ultimately just taking it easy, allowing the field to get by and get going once again.
Yeah, it looks like it was through the right-hander. Stephen might have gone onto the dirt and lost the rear end. As we have a look at Timothy Stanton, he's in a real battle here.
He's got Hilton Nixon.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Hilton is a relatively new driver into, well, the likes of sim racing in Raceface. He's a new name, but putting on a fantastic show out there with Timothy Stanton right behind him. Nico Killerman closing down the distance as well, and Arno Kraus with the Honda full of Red Bull also trying to close down the distance. So some great racing going on, but Timothy Stanton looks to the inside, looks to the outside. Hilton going to the middle of the circuit, hard on the brakes, but it does look like Timothy was able to get it locked in. Can he carry it through? Hilton, though, going out wide, and that's allowed Nico Killerman to get past him. And that's the problem with the likes of the Andretti corner. You've got to be so careful on your drive, because that exit can literally end your race before it's even started.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of different lines that you can take through that corner. Some tend to, follow the tighter line through there. Others kind of do that double apex. But if you lose your drive out of that corner, then, one of the cars running wide, doing a bit of rally cross there.
Back markers.
Trying to get back on the track.
That's Christopher Bush who comes across Hilton. And it does look like Hilton and Arno Kraus, part of that. Aiden Russell managing to get past, but that was Christopher Bush who dropped a wheel off the track and unfortunately came back on with a bit of contact. So let's see what happened. He dropped a wheel on the dirt, so he's not trying to pull himself back onto the circuit, trying to keep it under control. Gets back on under braking. Hilton goes for an inside pass, and the contact, and unfortunately Arno Kraus was just part of it. There was nowhere to go. It was sideways action, and man, monster impact.
Yeah, it's it's nothing worse. Even me and you have had it at arriving at the scene of an accident. You're going through the corner, and all of a sudden there's a car right in front of you parked on the track. Absolutely nothing you can do about it. It's too late to get on the brakes at that stage. You hit the brakes instinctively, but you'll never slow the car down before the impact. As we have a look at Luke Lucchesi making his way around, he's battling it out with Chase Herald, and right behind them we've got the likes of Byron Mitchell and Yuri Umpiswart laying and waiting to see what this battle is gonna pin out to be. But so we've basically got a 4-car battle out on track, split into 2 little groups, which is very quickly becoming one big group for the battle for 3rd place.
Yeah, no, it's definitely turning out to be a fantastic race going on. Heat 2, though, being a bit tricky for a lot of these drivers as they try and maneuver their way through. As we jump on board with Byron Mitchell, he's really right up at the back of Luke Lucchesi, trying to get as much drive as he can. And, I've got to say, these drivers are really focusing on a great charge to try and improve themselves. Byron Mitchell with Luke Lucchesi just ahead of him. Chase Herald, though, is going to be thankful for this as he's trying to open up the distance between them. Does drop a wheel on the dirt. Got to be careful of that as they battle their way through. And as you said, turning into a 3-way battle for the likes of 3rd place is going to be a very interesting run for it. And just getting notified that Doug Herber going and unfortunately having to retire due to internet issues. That would count as a mechanical problem, and instead of going and interfering with races, he's going to just rather wait it out. So, hats off to you. It does happen. Luck sometimes not on the side of the drivers, and we do run into these issues, especially with online racing, if the guys are able to stick it out, have a bit of fun, and keep within it. As you pointed out, up till 32nd still scores points, and we've got 33 cars, so it means only one position won't get a point. So if you keep it going...
Sorry, bad news for Doe. He's the one not getting the points.
Yeah, at the moment. Peter Jabir He's getting past Herman Lazarus, who tried closing down the door, but unfortunately not to be under that circumstance. Yuri Umpiswat, though, up in 5th position. Luke Lucchesi just ahead of him. But take a look, Byron Mitchell behind Yuri Umpiswat and trying everything he can, desperately trying to kick open the door, and Yuri going and locking it down. Byron Mitchell not going to have an easy time here. Luke Lucchesi, seeing what's happening in the mirrors, is going to be focusing on what's happening behind him while chasing down Chase Herald, who all he needs to do is look out his front windscreen and forget about the carnage that's going on as we jump on board with him. A couple of things to point out. This left-hander actually dips in. You got to get the power on. We saw some contact, but here's the second one now I'm a bit worried about. This is the left-hander where we saw the major contact. It actually goes into a big dip, and if you don't get your line right, if you're on the outside line, you actually get thrown out into the dirt. So the guys are going to be so cautious with it as they make their way around the circuit. So a couple of guys needing to try and figure out what's going to work for them and how their cars are set up. Luke Lucchesi, though, he has pulled the trigger. He's gone right onto the back of Chase Herald, getting a fantastic run out the corkscrew, and is now on the charge into the toe. Yuri Umpiswat joining him. It does look like Byron Mitchell has lost the sight of the train at the moment, but Luke Lucchesi knows what's on cards at the moment, tries to go for the inside line. Chase locking it down, ensuring it's not going to happen side by side, but Yuri Umpiswat looking to try and make it 3 wide. Couldn't do it. It's going to make it 2 wide instead, heading into the Andretti corner. Going to be on the outside line, forcing Luke Lucchesi on the inside, sideways. You could see frantically cranking on that steering wheel and trying to just brake as late as he can, getting a little bit unsteady, but Luke keeping a cool, calm head, managing to go and get a little bit more of a run.
Yeah, with less than 6 minutes left in this race, they need to make the move now. Yuri Umpiswat desperately trying to get past Luke Lucchesi. That does allow Chase Herald to open up that gap a little bit, because these two are keeping each other busy, running side by side. Luke Yuri Umpiswat trying to go around the outside. They are starting to stumble over my words, Stephen.
Well, it's just amazing.
English
action
is running out.
That's it.
But
Byron
Mitchell is back in the action.
Yeah, Byron Mitchell seeing the fight going on. He joins side by side as they're going to head into the corkscrew. Now it's the undercut, but it does look like Luke Lucchesi's lost drive. Luke goes wide. Byron Mitchell says thank you very much. Yuri Umpiswat had to come off the throttle, and that's allowed Byron Mitchell to get right up the rear bumper of Yuri Swart at the moment into the toe, pulling himself along. Gonna look for the inside line. Has to back out of it, though. He's gonna keep up the monstrous charge, but a race out at the front that's really making a bit of an impact as the guys fight their way through. I do want to go and give a little bit of a love to the guys further down, 9th and 10th position. Paul Rackstraw and Paul Herber going and duking it out. These two have never been on the track together. They are completely new to one another. And Paul Rackstraw going and forcing Paul Herber to go around the outside, side by side, through turn 2. And they've got the likes of William Bertha just ahead of them that they're chasing down. But Paul Herber trying to figure out how Paul Rackstraw works. Little bounce over the curb. That's allowed Paul Herber to get a little bit more of a chase. That's also getting Tristan de Norbrigger a little bit closer into the fray as well. So some great racing, some great side-by-side actions. But third place still on the cards. Chase Herald, Yuri Umpiswat, Byron Mitchell, Luke Lucchesi, still trying to close down the distance. As you said, not much time left in this race, and it's all on the cards at the moment for every single one of these drivers for round 2 of the Raceface TCR Championship. Take a look at Tristan de Norbrigger, though. He's caught up to Paul Herber. Well, the two Pauls just ahead of him. Rackstraw managing to keep Paul Herber at bay. And here comes Tristan de Norbrigger. Fantastic drive out the corkscrew. Gonna try go around the outside of Paul Herber. Couldn't make it stick. Gonna go around the inside. Not able to get that one to stick, but allows Rackstraw to start pulling a bit of a distance away from the fight. White flag being waved, though, for our leader, Julian Familiaris, out in first place. Jan Fari in second. Third is Chase Herald with Yuri Umpiswat right on the back of him, trying to force it. And Yuri Umpiswat with the fastest lap time of the race, 1:30.412. on that last lap. Now trying everything he can to get past and get into the podium positions right towards the end. We're going to have a lot for our recap come the end of this race.
Yeah, less than a lap to go for Yuri Biswat to try and get past Chase Herald to take that last podium position, tucking up right under that rear bumper. Two Hondas duking it out. It does look like the Honda of Yuri Biswat is a little bit more planted through the corners. The Honda of Chase does look like it's sliding a little bit more. Is Yuri going to try and line him up to the corkscrew as they go up the hill now? Does look like the drive is very evenly split between these two Hondas, tucking in the slipstream. Not going to look on the inside. Is he going to try and line up the final corner as we see Chase sliding around that corkscrew?
Yeah, no, he's doing everything he can to just try and keep Yuri at bay. Yuri gonna keep the drive going as they fight the way through. We're gonna follow this battle all the way through. Julian Familiaris has taken the checkered flag onto the braking. Yuri did take a look, had to second guess it though, and I think that's just cost him third place as Chase Herald goes across the line. So first place, Julian Familiaris, Johan Free taking second place, and going to be more than happy to be back on the podium, along with Chase Herald in third place. Yuri Biswat giving him a little bit of a love tap as they come round, a bit of a banter between the two. Byron Mitchell, Luke Lucchese, Andrew Thomas in seventh place. Eighth is William Bertha, along with Paul Rackshaw. Tristan de Norbrigger comes across the line in 10th place. Paul Herber in 11th. And 12th is Roland Ferreira, Etienne Swart, Peter Joubert, Gabriel dos Santos, Herman Lazarus, managing just to get caught out right behind the line. So Gabriel dos Santos with no front bumper, beating out Herman Lazarus right towards the end. Great race there. Nico Kellerman, Aiden Russell in 18th. 19th is Timothy Stanton, Roloff Tillerman, Robbie Teenings, Christopher Bush, Louis Nokia in 23rd. 24th, Richard Herring, Werner Swart, Swace Jabir, Vaynon Kersop, getting ahead of Hilton Nixon, along with Arno Kraus, Jeff Hancock, Bago Krobler, Jason Coutier, and rounding out the field is Doe Herber. Heart goes out to Jason Coutier, losing 30 positions at the end of that. And he had a terrible, terrible start that got him caught behind the field, and then unfortunately coming to blows earlier on in lap 1. Bago Krobler losing out 20 positions from where he started. So a couple of guys just not having the race that they wanted. But I've got to say, what a phenomenal run here at Laguna Seca for round 2, heat 2 of the Raceface TCR Championship. And that's it, done. That's it. Heat 1, Heat 2 done. Action-packed right to the end. And I think I've just lost my voice. Our provisional results are out on there. And for everyone to see, Julian Familiaris, well done taking that. Jan Free in second place, third, Chase Herald. But what a race of note, Janneman. I've got to say, 33 cars, 33 TCR cars, could be more as well, as the guys are going to have a huge amount of fun. Lots of discussions going to be had around in the back scenes, but I think a lot of good banter amongst the drivers, teams, and families at the end of this.
Absolutely. Very close racing, Stephen, in both the races. I mean, these TCR races are action-packed, and these 20-minute races absolutely fly by before you find yourself, you're nearing the end of the race again, and there's so little time to try and get the positions that you are aiming for. But if this is how the TCRs are going to be around Laguna Seca, what do you think their F4s are going to be like?
Do I have to stream or can I race? That's my easiest answer, to be honest.
No, you can come racing.
Yeah, I think a couple of guys would like to see the stream as much as I'd like to race for the F4s, but yeah, it's awesome stuff. Well, Janneman, talking about that, let's actually take a look at what's coming up this week in terms of racing, especially here at Raceface. We have got our GT3 Sprint Series, Round 3 at Silverstone on the 16th of August. That is tomorrow evening at Silverstone. The guys are looking to have a bit of fun out there. Lots of work being done and let's see who's going to make it through Maggots and Beckets, and can we avoid the likes of a Hamilton and Verstappen moment? I'm sure we can with these GT3 cars. Then we have got the Grid Championship Round 2 at Silverstone on the 17th of August, brought to you by Metal States and Raceface. They're looking to really step up the game as the drivers go and make their way to the top. Tariq Adam currently leading out. The field is going to be ensuring that he can stretch the gap a little bit further for the Genesis Esports team. Will Silverstone be the one that he needs, or will land up with the Hybrid Academy team chasing him down? We have also got our AMS2, our Automobilista 2, Round 3 at Silverstone on the 19th of August. They are ready to have a bit of fun out there. Really going to put some amazing effort in. Good to see the guys having a bit of fun out in Automobilista 2. And also with our new commentator going and broadcasting it, it's good to see the guys having some new fun on a new sim. Then also Round 4 at Silverstone, 15th of August. That actually happened this evening for our F1 2023. Good to see the guys going and really battling out. They had the race this evening. We'll catch up the results in our recap. As you brought up, next week though, 22nd of August, Round 2, Laguna Seca for our Raceface F4 Championship. Looking to go and really keep it all together. You're actually going to be out in one of the cars to try and score some points for the championship.
Yes. Yeah, some say I will be racing.
And coming up after that would be Round 3, 29th of August at Alton Park for the TCRs, looking to go and ramp their way around the circuit. Ultimately though, Janneman, what a race. And wow, what a time here at Raceface, especially with everything that's going on, and so much to come.
Absolutely, Stephen. Only iRacing this week in the land of America. The rest is going to happen all the way over the pond on UK, or at the UK track Silverstone. So tomorrow night we're back in GT3 cars around Silverstone for the GT3 Sprint Series, and very much looking forward to that one to see who can put up a fight to Mr. Ryan Ottens. And then on Thursday we move over to the Grid Championship. So there's still a lot of racing that's going to happen this week, and the viewers need to tune in and watch all the action that we will be bringing live.
So let's see how it all goes. But thank you very much for joining us. Make sure you hit the subscribe button along with the bell notification icon for all the action here at Raceface. And also keep an eye out. Next week, Monday, our recap of the week will go and take us through all the official results. So keep an eye out on that, because it's always great to have a bit of a banter. I think there's lots to talk about, and especially a nice 20-minute recap of all the racing that's going on. It does make life a bit interesting, so you catch up on all the news and stories that's happening. But ladies and gentlemen, from myself, Stephen Koenig, the world's fastest backmarker, and Janneman Price, the world's slowest alien, we would like to say thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for inviting us into your homes, and we'll see you next time tomorrow evening for our Raceface GT3 Sprint Series Season 10 right here at Raceface. So, in the usual fashion, I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.